Ferguson Plarre is a modern industrial bakery manufacturing high quality cakes and pastries. This bakery supplies a network of over 50 retail outlets with fresh products every day. Today we're going to be talking to Mike Plarre. Mike is the operations manager at Ferguson Plarre and the 5th generation of the Plarre family to lead the business. Keep watching because Mike is going to share with us how he's managed to successfully implement Lean in a workplace that has very little in common with the automotive factories that Lean is traditionally associated with. To start with, can you tell us a bit about the Ferguson Plarre story and what led you to implementing Lean?
When we first began working with Lean, we were introduced to TXM back at the old bakery. Okay, it was an old, outdated bakery that had 3 shifts running for 24 hours a day. And we started to look at Lean and get a basic understanding of it. But throughout that period, we're actually building the new facility. So we've got a greenfield site here. But once we moved into the place, we realised that our processes were nowhere near good enough, okay, to control the quality of the product and the efficiencies. So that's when we met with Tim and with Anthony Klein, and the guys came through and started to teach us the basics of Lean. And 5S has been fundamental to the learnings within the business. It's just the simple ownership, levels of ownership that are sitting with the individuals now rather than with the managers. So every individual now owns their own space in the bakery. So it starts off with a practice of cleanliness, with everything having its place and going back in the same place every time. And we now in a position where we never have to clean the bakery for an inspection. Yeah. We see ourselves as industry leaders.
So Mike, what were the major changes that TXM helped you implement?
The basic structure in the first place. So the basic structure of the 5S process, it did take us time to install it. It took time for people to get the hang of it. But once they understood 5S, it made it very simple to start to roll out with set meeting protocols and set meeting agendas that touched on all the key topics of our business, which is food safety, occupational health and safety, problem solving, quality control, where each meeting lasts for 5 or 10 minutes, depending on the type of meeting. People come into the meetings, they get fully engaged with what they have to do, and then they take those learnings away to their own teams where they have a 5-minute team meeting.
What kind of improvements did you see in factory performance, Mike?
We went from a relatively small and compact facility to this place, which is roughly 4 times the size. Okay. Then once we started implementing Lean, it just hunkered everyone down to an exact process. We had an awful lot of wasted time of people running between departments. Yeah. And with 65 metres from corner to corner of the business, if you have to move from room to room to simply find tools, equipment, ingredients, over a period of a day you can waste 15 to 20% of your available time. Yeah. So some of the first improvements were just locking down processes so that everything we required were at fingertips. Yeah. And then it was the management process of actually managing the lines. Okay, setting time limits, setting scales of efficiency against those lines. Yeah. So we then brought the efficiency and the practices back into a lean model where people came to work, they had all their tools, they got the job done, and they moved on to the next topic.
Okay. So how did you feel as those improvements started to happen, Mike?
It gave me a terrific structure to work with the team, but it gave the teams the exact same structure to work with their staff. Yeah. So it provided an avenue of communication, which has just greatly simplified the business. We're now starting to roll out the same sort of protocol into the other areas of the business. So we're using it within our retail network now. Yeah. We're using it within our administrative network because the lines of communication are just so simple. And the bakery has never been cleaner.
So business is about the bottom line. So what was the overall benefits for your business?
Yep. Look, overall, the place is spotless, so it's a pleasure to work in. There's a lot less noise. Okay, so when I say noise, there's less chaos. Yeah. It's organised, it's structured. Even on super busy days, which used to be chaotic, it's very quiet, it's very peaceful. And that generates efficiency. So we've got our wages, we've dropped 10% off our wages since we've implemented the Lean. Yeah. We have dropped 7% off our raw materials, and we've halved our raw material waste by managing the waste offline. So if every line we've got a set standard,
Yeah.
which we measure against every day. So it's very simple for me
Yeah.
as an owner and manager of the company to walk through each department, and it's very clear for me to see where we have wastage
Yeah.
and why, because it's simply you see a lot of red lines
Yeah.
on the board and you go, okay, there's red lines, there's been an issue. I should be able to follow that up on the other meeting board to go, okay, if I got red lines, I should have a corrective action in place for that.
Yeah.
So as a management tool, I can manage the business within 10 or 15 minutes of every week.
Yeah. And for you personally, what changes have it meant?
It's actually allowed me to leave manufacturing and to focus my attention elsewhere.
Yeah.
My job has always been 100% in manufacturing, but over the last 4 or 5 years with the implementation of Lean, by building all the processes within the bakery and building the levels of ownership within the staff, I've been able to essentially remove myself from production and focus on the retail landscape.
Yeah.
Yep. So now I've essentially replaced myself, so
Yeah.
I can move on to different tasks.
So focus on growing the business and where the
Absolutely.
business is going rather
Yeah.
than where the business is.
I'm not working in the business anymore. I'm essentially working on the business, and my staff, although they're working within the business, they're working on their teams in the same line.
Developing their people. That's
They're
right.
developing their people. They've got 4, 5, and 6 month strategies in place to build out their teams for what they need for the future. So it's heightened their scope.
So the implementation on Ferguson Plarre has been very focused on people. Tell us how that's worked.
Behavioural change has been probably the key to the instalment of Lean. So the tools that you put in place, the tools are fantastic, but the hardest part is getting people to actually understand and acknowledge the value within the tools.
Yeah.
Within the first couple of months or 6 months of installing Lean, there's a lot of pushback of people going, why do I have to do this?
Yeah.
I've never had to do this before. But once they've actually installed it and they've done it and they reap the benefits of it, they live their life by it.
Yeah.
It simplifies them greatly, so that if someone messes up, if someone doesn't follow a process, the staff are right on them. So the staff control the process completely.
Yeah. Some people will say that lean thinking is just for big automotive companies. Ferguson Plarre proved this wrong. Mike Plarre has created a world-class bakery through investing both in the assets and the people to deliver outstanding quality product to his customers, fresh every day. Thank you for visiting this case study of Ferguson Plarre's lean transformation. Please contact us if you want to learn more about how you can transform your business using lean thinking.